Geometry 13 Central. 50
You know how fast you were going?
What? How fast you were going?
I don't know. 10?
8.
Be advised, this is an explicit podcast, so if you're easily offended, get your panties twisted into a knot, turn this off before you get butthurt and mad, start to cry, have to run to your safe space. All opinions are those of the host and his guest and do not reflect the opinions of any government agency.
Welcome to another episode of MOTORCOP Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Iceman. We're going to have a special guest. I should say, I said via satellite, but he's on the telephone. He's phoned in. Me and him have talked for a while. He's been listening to the podcast, got in touch with me. We just kind of text back and forth and stuff like that, and he finally decided to come on. And from me talking to him and find out a little bit about him, his nickname is this.
I am the great Cornholio.
He is the great Cornholio. How you doing, Cornholio?
All good, man. They playing some cornhole on TV today.
That's the reason why I nicknamed him that, because him and his wife actually belong to a cornhole league. I still think they could have come up with a better name for that game, but obviously, all we're going to say is he's in Texas, somewhere in the great state of Texas, where they must actually televise cornhole on the TV. Around here, the only way you're going to see cornhole on TV is if you have the Playboy channel. So, just saying, if they even have that anymore.
I don't think they even do that on Playboy.
No, I don't even know if they have the Playboy channel anymore. I just telling my age.
Yeah, this weekend is the ACL World Championships. So I've been working nights this week, but I've had it recording, so I caught up on yesterday's matches this morning, and it's recording right now.
Well, at least I learned something new, because did I know they had cornhole championships at all for our out of country people? I don't know if that's a popular thing out where y'all are at or not. So
a lot of people call it bags, or
it's like a beanbag toss.
Yeah, different names for it, but it's cornhole.
So we'll start out with the same questions I always ask. I don't know if y'all can hear that or not. I don't know. Had somebody trying to beep in. But what is your favorite drink, Cornholio?
Well, I bounce around a lot. As far as beer, I'm Busch Light. Gotta have the Busch Light. I like mixed drinks, but I try to stick with just a blended Canadian whiskey mixed with Coke Zero or something. But other than that, mainly just water.
You were telling me earlier you found some Busch apple.
Busch Light apple. I did.
Well,
I thought they only sold it up north, but I found some a while ago.
Well, I hope you enjoy that. I'm not a beer drinker at all. I don't like the taste of it. And if I was a beer drinker, I would probably like mine shaved. I gave up the Busch a while back, so just saying. What's your favorite movie?
You know, honestly, can't say I have a favorite movie. I don't watch a lot of movies. I watch more
Cornhole
documentaries.
What
Yeah, cornhole. I like documentaries, stuff that's real. You know, like police movies and all that. It just nothing's real to me, so I don't really get into it if it's too far fetched. But
Well, come on,
I don't know. The
you
only
can't
movie,
shoot 200 rounds out your pistols and never reload.
no, never drop the mag. I don't know. It's hard for me to get into that. But the only movie that really comes to mind was The Guardian.
Was that with
It was about
Denzel?
no, it was about a Coast Guard rescue swimmer. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I saw that one too. Where you jump out the helicopter and stuff. Is that Kevin Costner or something? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it had Ashton Kutcher maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Old obscure movie there. So, what is your?
Hey, if I get still to try to watch a movie, I'll go to sleep.
What's your favorite restaurant to eat at?
Oh man, that's another one. We don't eat out a whole lot.
McDonald's. That's your favorite. That's your
No, I
go-to.
refuse. I refuse the Big Mac.
You don't want no secret
We
sauce.
like Cajun food. So any type of
Yeah, I'm sure y'all
Cajun
got.
food, not
Yeah, y'all got a lot of those over there in Texas, don't you?
we got some that ain't so good, but any of the mom and pop style Cajun restaurants we like.
My sister lives up in Texas, and she has told me about. She went to supposedly with some Cajun, supposed to be Cajun food or something like that, and she got over there and she was like, these people had no clue what the hell they were doing.
Yeah,
She said they had boiled crawfish, and they boiled the crawfish in water and then sprinkled the seasoning on top of the crawfish after they took it out.
people around here go to the Chinese food buffet to eat crawfish. I'm like, man, y'all are crazy. Ain't no way.
So you got to know what you're doing to boil crawfish correctly.
To have any flavor.
To boil anything that tastes good anyway. So I know I do send Cornholio pictures of like boudin and stuff like that when I do get it, because like I said, that's all over the place here, and I'll get some and send them a picture of it just to make them jealous.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't know what boudin is, go look it up. It's not spelled B-O-O either. It's B-O-U. But it is quite delicious. Now, you're not full-time where you're at. You're like a part-time.
I am. Yes, I'm part-time.
As much as, we've talked a bit, but we talked quite a bit. It seems like you work damn near full-time hours. But
Yes, I do. I do work quite a bit. Just this pay period, I've already got 36 hours. So I do a whole lot of work.
you said your full-time job was male stripping.
Yes. That's exactly right. And it pays pretty good, just depending on the night.
Yeah, them dollars, or they throwing like nickels at you?
It's mainly quarters.
It's better than a penny, huh? He's not really a stripper, y'all. Just fucking with him. He just went along with it, which is good. So I know, you know about Freebird and all that stuff like that. So we're gonna start out with do you have a naked story?
Yeah. Well, yes and no. I don't. Let's see. I've been on the street 9 years, and I really can't say that I've had a naked story other than having to see a naked person as far as a medical call. Or the only time, well, I'll say yes and no. That's because I walked up. I'm notorious for creeping around with my lights off. So this actually wasn't too long ago. I go check all the hotels. It's about 1:30 in the morning, and I'm creeping around through the parking lots with my lights off, and I see a guy sitting in the driver's seat of a car. Well, why are you in the car? Why ain't you in your room? So I get out and I walk up. I ain't shining my flashlight or nothing. I'm just creeping up. I don't know if he's doing dope or what he's up to. I walk up. There's a female in the passenger seat, leaned over with her head in his lap, and she's got a mouthful. I wasn't real sure what my next step was. Do I stop it? Do I go back to the car and leave? He was enjoying it.
Which have mouthful of peanut butter?
Yes. Yeah, if that's what you want to call it.
Or was it penis?
It was peanut butter with nuts. So I stood there a second, not really watching. I was trying to process it. And about that time, he sees me standing there at the window. He jumps. She don't even stop. She just looks up at me. So I turn around and look away, and then I turn back around and I said, y'all stop. She was probably 62, 63. He was about 45 probably.
Well, maybe they didn't have to worry about her biting it if she took them dentures out.
Exactly. But she was, she appeared to be a real classy lady, but her last name and his last name was not the same on their driver's license. So I'm pretty sure I know what they were up to. And they did have a room there. I said, y'all need to.
Why wasn't they in the room? Why didn't they just go to the room?
He said she could not wait. She wanted it right now. I said, well, I mean, I know the feeling when women get that way sometimes, but man, y'all need to go in the room and shut the door. But I've walked up on a lot of sexual activity. And I had a girl one night, asked her if she had anything illegal on her, and women are notorious for hiding stuff in their bras. And I just asked her, anything illegal in your bra? Nope. She pulls her bra and shirt up over her head, flashes me. I'm like, that's not what I wanted to see.
Don't lie, you wanted to see it.
Flapjacks flying. No.
She had the old pancake titties.
Yes. But I walked up on all kinds of stuff at the parks and the lakes. Just tell them to move along.
As long as you wasn't in the bathroom when somebody was tapping their foot under the stall at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They could put you down on an undercover sting in the men's bathroom.
Well, we've done that here before as well.
So were you the bait?
No, I was hiding in the bushes.
You all about bushes. You want bush beard? You hide in the bushes. Everybody, we'll send out his address, and everybody mail him some Nair and some fucking razors. He's got a bush problem. He's always in the damn bushes. And like I said, me and you've talked for a few months now. You like working like dope on the interstate, like interdiction type stuff.
Yes, I make my own schedule, and I try to make my schedule and my times to where I feel like I have a better chance of hitting a load. So that's usually where I spend most of my time, out on the big road.
Got any good bus?
Yeah, I mean, over the last 9 years, I've made, there's no telling how many dope arrests I've made out there. Biggest was 48 pounds of cocaine and 12 pounds of methamphetamine. That was a cartel load, come to find out.
Well, I'm sure they were happy.
Sinaloa.
Sure somebody.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody somebody was really upset over that.
Somebody might have got killed over that.
But I've got on that account, it was kind of funny. I was watching traffic, and all these like Greyhound buses were coming down the interstate. A bunch of them. I'm talking like it was like 18 or 19 of them, all in a group. Well, in the middle of that group, there was an 18-wheeler. I'm like, why did you wedge in between there? What's up with that? So I stopped him. That's where the load was at. Well, I actually had a rider with me that night, and it happened to be my wife. So when I searched the cab of the truck, I'm thinking as I talk, so I don't want to say nothing I'm not supposed to. I found in a drawer in the sleeper, I pulled the drawer open, there was 2 kilos. I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. That was the first time I'd ever found that much weight. So we get out, hook the guy up, detain him. Of course, he knows absolutely nothing about what I'm talking about.
Did he speak English?
Very little. Very little. Well, he portrayed to speak very little. Now, he may have spoke great English. Who knows? I know that when he found out he was going to jail, he could speak good enough English that he wanted his family protected immediately before he would talk to us.
Say not too much, not our problem.
So I found a couple of kilos. And I'm like, okay, there's probably more. Sure enough, we found under the bed in the sleeper, there was keys everywhere. So I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so we need to get off the road. So my partner had a couple of officers show up. They took him to the station, and I'm out there with this other guy, and he takes the big truck and pulls it off the interstate. It's like in a big parking area, but we're out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's not like we're in a big city anyway. So my wife is sitting in the car, and I told her, I said, hey, this is definitely going to be cartel related. Just stay in the car. If somebody pulls up, because I really thought there's no way they're moving this much without having a vehicle tailing it. So I'm like, if somebody pulls up, just get down on the floorboard. Don't make a word. Don't just be quiet. Because I was going back up in the cab of the truck, and the guy that parked it over there for me, he got in with another officer, and they left me there. I was just going to inventory the truck.
They just left you out there by yourself?
Yes. I'm like, y'all left me. I got this. Of course, I mean, I still had, I don't know, at that time, probably 15 kilos in the back seat.
Was he loaded?
Was the truck loaded?
The trailer.
No, the trailer was not loaded. Everything was in the cab.
I mean, you said the trailer was empty. It didn't have cargo in it.
Oh, yes, it did. It had grapes. It was a reefer. It was a reefer with California plates. But I'm going through the truck, trying to inventory what I can, because I plan to have the truck towed, and then I'm going to go do a secondary search. So I'm just going through there. Well, this black, old, beat-up Tahoe pulls up, and I didn't know it, but they pulled up next to my unit. She went into freak-out mode. Well, I'm in the cab, and it turned out to be a lady that worked for the towing company coming to see what type of record they needed. But, man, she crawled up in that cab and said, hey, scared the hell out of me. My wife's in the car crying. She thinks I'm fixing to get murdered. But it all turned out good. it ended up being, like I said, 48 pounds of coke, 12 pounds of meth. We didn't find the meth, though. It was hid better. We didn't find it till the next day in the daylight.
She wasn't worried about this. She just hadn't paid the insurance policy up yet, huh?
You're probably right. But she likes to come out and ride, see what we do. And she was riding one night and said it was kind of dead. And I said, "Well, where do you want to go? You want to go just run normal traffic? What do you want to do?" She's like, "I don't care, just some action." I said, "Okay." So we come into town and I stopped this car, ran a red light. I pull it over. It's this older man. He can't hear me real well. He wants to get out of the car, which in the older generation, they love to get out as soon as you pull them over. And if I can see what's going on and I can tell it's an older individual, I don't get real crazy about get back in your vehicle. I can see them. It's fine. That's what they're used to. The respect thing that really don't exist anymore. But he jumps out, leaves it in gear. So the car takes off. He actually gets it, tries to go to park. It goes to reverse. He's hanging halfway out the car. He's trying to go to park. He gasses it in reverse. He falls out of the car. The car runs over him and then rams right into my unit. So we get all that sorted out, and I go back. Her eyes are wide. I'm like, well, you wanted action. Here we are. We done got run over.
Poor old fella run himself over.
We got a man done run himself over. Jeez Louise.
Well, I guess
No, that's a...
pretty not different. I mean, a lot of places aren't going to let your spouse ride with you.
It's always something.
Well, I know you got plenty of stories. You done sent me videos of people telling you what a fine officer of the law you are.
Man, you know as well as I do, them people exist. You can't do nothing about them.
But you just seem like you get more than your fair share of Karens.
I can't argue that. I don't know why I'm attracted to the Karens. I try to be nice. These people nowadays, they're different. They don't care nothing about police and respect or anything. They're crazy. But no, I've dealt with plenty of the crazy ones.
I know you get some good high roller speeders out there.
I did get one the other night. I got him. He was actually doing best. What I recall seeing on the radar was 142 as he was coming around some cars, but I got him locked in at 134. So that's what I wrote him for. And I was pretty certain it was going to be a pursuit because nobody drives that fast. But
well, he had to poop.
Man, it took about 6 miles to reel him in. And the only way I think I caught up to him was there was 2 big trucks riding side by side, which I hate that, but it worked out for me at this time. And he had no choice but to check up. And that's when I reeled him in. But as soon as I lit him up, he hit the shoulder.
What kind of car was it? Don't tell me it was a Nissan.
It was a Prius.
Hold on, you telling me a Prius was doing 140 something miles an hour?
No, it was a Dodge Charger.
Okay.
But I asked him, man, he was cool. I was like, hey, obviously the reason for the stop is your speed. So what is the hurry? He had 2 infants in the back seat, in car seats. Thank God, at least.
Well, thank God, because he was doing, he was going up. Well, at that kind of speed, if he'd have crashed, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. That car would have just blew apart in pieces.
But he said they were out of baby wipes.
Okay, did they just shit themselves or something?
And
Did you
didn't
check?
No. And his wife was telling him that he needed to slow down, but I don't know. I probably should have took him to jail.
Yeah.
I didn't. He got a real good ass thrashing on the side of the road.
Did he have a bush?
Did he have what?
A bush.
Who?
A bush.
Oh, no. No, he wasn't even drinking. He was completely sober.
I was talking about, did he have a man bush after you thrashed his ass? Did you notice if he had a man bush?
No, but he got talked dirty too, and he didn't mind it. He deserved it.
He's probably just glad he wasn't going to jail.
Yeah, I could have articulated reckless driving pretty easy, child endangerment, but I'm pretty sure after that he slowed down.
I don't know what some people think when they going to drive like that with their wife, especially their small children in the car. Because
I don't know. It was like 2:30 in the morning. Wasn't hardly anybody on the road. I mean, he wasn't weaving in and out of traffic. He was just
but you ought to know.
flat out cruising.
You ought to know. All it takes is a deer or something to run out in front of you at that kind of speed.
Yeah, deer, coyote, blowout, anything. You're done.
And I don't know about y'all. I don't know if I mentioned this the other past weeks. I don't think I did. I might have. I don't know. I don't know what's up with the coyotes lately. I was on my way back from writing tickets in the area I write tickets from, and I'm driving on the interstate, and I'm looking. Of course, on the right-hand side, it's a big wooded area. There's grass before that and everything else. And I'm driving up and coming up. I'm like, man, the fucking dog just standing there. When I got closer, it wasn't a dog. It was a fucking coyote just standing there, not even on the shoulder, but just standing there in the grass watching cars go by. And I watched it as I went by, and it was just standing there. And then I watched it in my mirror, and it just kind of turned around and just walked back into the woods. Somebody was telling me that lately, I don't know if some of their hunting grounds are shrinking or what, but they'll come out and look for roadkill along the edge of the road because it's, they ain't got to hunt it. It's scavenger. But it was just standing there watching cars go by. Just, it's like it was nothing.
Coyotes are real curious creatures. I actually tournament hunt coyotes. And we enter tournaments all around this area and hunt. But they're very, very curious animals. Not quite as curious as the fox, but they're curious.
I know you hear two coyotes tie into it fighting at night when you can't see nothing. It's a scary sound. It sounds like women screaming and stuff at each other.
Yep.
We got called one time. Somebody said a suspicious person at the cemetery. I had a rookie with me. And we went to the cemetery, and it was like, I don't know, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning. Get there, didn't see no cars or nothing around. So we get out, and I'm like, you couldn't see the whole cemetery for the driveway area. So I said, look, we gotta get out and we gotta walk around, make sure ain't nobody, kids in here, fucking shit up or nothing. He just kind of looks at me and is like, really? I'm like, it's a fucking cemetery. I mean, the ghost might get you, but that's about it. So we're out walking around. We're walking around and basically cleared the cemetery. And we wasn't a large cemetery. We come up on the way back, and the guy's like, oh my God, stop, wait. I'm like, what? He's like, look over there. I'm like, what? He said, right over there, look. There's somebody standing there, not moving. And it was kind of foggy that night a little bit. Kind of one of them creepy nights. Mornings, however you want to do it. I'm looking. I was like, just come through there. I didn't see nobody standing there. I'm just looking. You're like, there's somebody standing there. I'm like, they're not moving. They're not moving. So I'm going to see what the hell this is. Walk over there. The old boy waited, I guess, to see if I got murdered first or something, or possessed or whatever he thought. Yeah, well, it was somebody standing there. Yeah, it was a statue that we had. It had him scared shitless, that damn statue. But I mean, I'll give the boy this. It was very creepy looking because, like I said, they had that low fog on the ground that you see in the creepy movies, the horror movie, and it was dark. It was like,
Hey, we're normal people. We get scared too.
yeah, because he thought the boogeyman come out. You know, I have seen like some of these cemeteries, and like this one, I guess people that have recently been deceased or something. I mean, there's no gate or nothing, so I've seen family members, roll up there at very odd hours of the night to go visit their loved ones or whatever. Because I've actually stopped and was like, "Hey, you all right? Yeah, it was my wife or my daughter or my mom, my dad, somebody," and just they couldn't sleep. They drove out to the cemetery. So
Yeah, and they go out there a lot. I've seen them late at night after they've been drinking and get a little intoxicated, and they start thinking about stuff. Then they want to go out there.
yep, they sure do. So I got to now everybody Cornholio has tons of stories. I think he's just a little nervous because he's always telling me all these stories. I guess he's gonna make me write them down and remind him of them.
I mean, they're small. They're just stuff that happens, but they're not breaking news or nothing.
It don't have to be breaking news. They wouldn't hear about you. Let's talk about you. What makes Cornholio corny?
Man, I'll tell you a nasty story.
Nasty's good. We could get some TP for your bunghole.
I went up to the police department. It's been I don't know, maybe a month ago now. I had to finish up a report. And I walked in, and the 911 was ringing, and dispatch answered it. And I was standing there waiting on her to get off the phone. I had to ask her about a case number, and she said, "Are you sure it's a dead body?" And I'm like, "Oh, hell." She says, okay. She got the location. I said, who's your RP? She's like, it's workers along the interstate. I'm like, oh, so it probably really is a dead body. She's like, yeah, they're pretty sure it is. Okay.
Now,
So I
I'm
got
going
on
to
the
cut you
radio.
off a second. For all the civilian listeners or new listeners that don't know what an RP is, that's a reporting person. Okay.
My bad.
It's not, no, go ahead. We're educational also. So continue.
So, of course, I'm not in uniform or anything, but I got on the radio and asked the sergeant on duty. I said, hey, do you need anything from the police department? I'm up here. I can come out there. I can help, whatever. He's like, let me get there. So he gets there, checks on scene. He calls me. He's like, yeah, go ahead and grab the camera and some more stuff and come on out. Okay. So I'm going out there. I get on scene. I hop out. I'm walking up. The wind's blowing in my face. I stop dead in my tracks, and I'm probably 50 yards from where the body is. I can't even see it yet. It's in the weeds in the ditch. It was the most horrendous smell I've ever smelled. I stopped. There's two officers walking towards me, and they were shaking their head no. And I said, is that what I'm smelling? Or is there something? Is there an animal up there? What is it? And they couldn't even talk. They were just shaking their head no, pointing for me to walk the other way. So we got further away, and I'm like, oh, man, this ain't good. and I got the camera. So I had to muster up the courage to walk up there. Well, I mean, this is it's not funny. It's a bad deal. But what had happened was a pedestrian had got hit, and it was 104 degrees outside for about 4 days straight.
So
And that body had been there.
it knocked him off, like threw him into the ditch, wooded area or something. Must have been a hell of an impact.
Yeah, it knocked him into the ditch in between, the service road and the main lines of travel of the interstate. And he had been eat up by maggots, and it was bad. So they wanted me to take pictures of the body. Well, I tried, and I got to gagging. I gave the camera to one of the construction workers, and they're like, no, I can't do this. I said, just hold the camera. I got to go. But man, that was terrible. Terrible. And he ended up being a local person that was out walking. He wasn't all with us. So it was a pretty sad deal. But that was
Them construction workers will find bodies. I've had one similar to that, if we're going to talk about nasty. This one was at an overpass that went over the interstate, and they were out putting some signs up, and they spotted a vehicle on its side down right into the wood area. The only way you were able to see it is you could not see it from the road. But because they were out replacing some signs, which come to find out been ones he ran over, that's the only way you could see it is you actually had to step off of the roadway to see it because of the embankment, the way it went down. Now, this man, come to find out, he was less than a mile from his house. He was an older gentleman. And his family had reported him missing right about a week before. And he was less than a mile from his house. But like I said, you could not see this car or it was an SUV, from where, unless you got off the roadway. Well, I go walking down there, and this was actually in 1996 because I was on my way back from Academy. I was still in Academy at the time. And they gave the call, and I happened to be right there on top of it, so I stopped. I told them I was out, blah, blah, blah. So I get out, and I'm walking down there, and the way it was dispatched, it just was like they found a car. They had a car off the interstate, off the overpass, and they had a person in it. So I'm getting off, walking around, and say, "Are they okay?" And the people are like, "No, I don't think he's okay." Well, I'm kind of like you. I got about halfway down there. I could smell the dead body. For anybody that hasn't smelled the approximately week-old dead body in the middle of July, especially in southern states where we have high humidity and everything, yeah, you ain't smelt nothing. Dead animals have nothing on a dead human body.
nothing.
You
It's horrible.
I don't know if,
It's horrible. And with it being a human, it just makes it worse.
well, if anybody remembers, I went to college to be a mortician and used to work in a funeral home for a while. So I've had my fair share, especially really, really stinky ones. When I get close and look into it, yeah, he's definitely dead. And so I called, getting the coroner and everybody out there, a tow truck, because the vehicle was on its side. So the tow truck gets out there, gets flipped over. Well, I'm helping the coroner to get the body out of the vehicle because he's kind of stuck on the windshield at this time because he's kind of rotted to the windshield. Like I said, I'm not trying to gross nobody out. You try to stay funny, but I mean, this is what it's called. I grab him by the arm. What it's called is slip skin. And when I'm referring to it, just what it sounds like. I grabbed him by his arm to try to help pull him out of the vehicle. And when of course we have gloves and stuff on, but when I grab him by the arm to help pull him out, all the skin on his arm slides off into my hand because he was so rotten that all the skin just kind of, slid off, and I'm standing here with 2 handful of arm skin from his arm. And I'm like, yes, it's gross. So I put that in the bag. We finally get him, when we finally pulled him out, it actually, imagine that suction sound, because that was him coming unstuck off the windshield and stuff like that, and get him out. Well, the clothes that I had on were burnt in a burn pile at the house that day, because there was no way I was ever going to get that smell out of those clothes. And I want to tell anybody, if you ever experienced it, you're going to smell this for a couple of days afterwards, because it gets up in your sinus cavity and stuff. So that's all I smelled for like 2 days, was this totally rotten. And when you have bodies like that, you also have to be careful, because they're bloated, and if you do it the wrong way, they will pop. And if that body pops, when I'm saying pop, I mean it pops open, kind of like a water balloon. That body pops open, the stench that you will ever smell is worse than just sitting there rotten. And it's just, hopefully most people never have to experience it. I've had quite a few, so I do know where you're coming from.
Yeah, this one was depressured already due to maggots.
Yeah,
it was
in the big dead
it
body
was
flies.
worse. Yes, it was bad. I mean, that's the worst smell. The second worst, I actually volunteered on our local fire department for 15 years. And I had to watch a couple actually burn to death while pinned in their vehicle. There was nothing I could do. But a body burning, it's bad too.
Well, I've been around crematoriums and stuff like that. I mean, to me, it just sounds like barbecue.
It did, but back to what I said, it wasn't barbecue.
It might have been, were they alive when they were burning? Because it's the screaming and stuff until they finally pass out from the pain is horrible.
The driver was unconscious. There was a head-on collision, and they were pinned in. There's no way they were getting out. And I responded to the scene because I was close, I wasn't near the station. And it just all happened so fast. Took too long to get a truck there, and they burned up. But the passenger was alive. And yes, there was screams and moans, and it was bad. And the other driver that hit him head on, he was also deceased on impact. It was a bad one.
Yeah, we had one out here where the guy was conscious, but he got in a crash and was pinned in a vehicle on the interstate, and it caught on fire. Problem, if they're pinned in like that, and it takes a little while to cut them out. With the cars on fire, ignites like that, I mean, unfortunately, you ain't be able to get them out. And plus, this guy was pinned in and caught on fire. Then he had ammunition in the car that started going off and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you just hearing blood-curdling screams like that, no horror movie or anything else is ever going to replace that sound that you hear. Is you actually hear a human being, dying like that, knowing there's nothing you can do about it.
It sticks with you for a little while, that's for sure. I mean, there's
some things that gives you them nightmares.
It does. And then, like you said, it's all you smell for days. You can't hardly eat supper or lunch. You smell it, you think about it. It's a bad deal. Well,
you have totally killed the whole mood of the entire audience at this point. They're all sitting there depressed, and they put their snacks down. Or if they're driving to work, they're like, you just fucked up
That
my egg
barbecue
McMuffin.
sandwich, that barbecue sandwich ain't good no more.
No, we're not eating that old barbecue sandwich we just picked up at the local Stop and Rob. Just put it down. But I mean, that's part of it. I mean, some stuff like that. Unfortunately, I mean, it's like I said, I try to talk about the funny shit or whatever, but there's a lot of it that's not.
But you know what I mean?
funny.
To me, that's what a lot of people that doesn't work in, law enforcement or EMS or fire. I mean, a lot of people just really don't realize what we have to deal with. I mean, everybody wants funny stories, but
Oh yeah,
sometimes there's just not many funny stories. There's a lot of sad stories. But I had to take a good friend of mine to jail the other night, and that was kind of funny.
You arrested your friend, and
Man, he was being a dumbass. He don't even drink. That's the thing. But sometimes he has bad migraines, and he took some new pain pills and actually drank, I think, 2 or 3 beers, and it sent him into another world. So he's on his motorcycle and didn't realize it was even him at first, but we go to stop him, and he decided he didn't want to stop. He could outrun us. So my partner actually checked in pursuit with him, and I'm like, oh, God, I know he's not running. Surely not. And my partner, I was probably half a mile behind him. I couldn't see him because of the hills on the highway, but I was close to him. I'm like, no, he's going to pull over. He's going to pull over. He's like, dispatch, be advised, speed's at 143 right now. I'm like, shit, he's running. So, yeah, we chased him into another county, and he tried to turn around and head back towards town, and he dumped his motorcycle, so it ended the best it could have. Nobody got hurt. And then he realized it was me. He's like, oh, if I'd have known it was you, I wouldn't have run. I'm like, dude, you have screwed up. He said, do I have to go to jail? I said, yep. Yep, you're going to jail for evading.
I mean,
he's like,
if you are drunk,
he says,
pull over and at least just get the DWI, because now you got all these other charges on top of it.
I'm like, man. He's like, well, can I at least ride with you? Will you take me to jail? I said, yep, yeah. I'll even let you ride in the front. Of course, we don't have cages in our units, which I like that. I don't like cages. I don't like people being behind me. Even if I had a cage, I'd probably still put them in the front seat. I don't do well with people behind me. But yeah, he got to go to jail for evading. So we laughed about that. I talked to him the next day. He was back in his right state of mind, and it wasn't alcohol. It was the alcohol mixed with the pain pills.
I think most of them pain pills come with the warning label that says, do not take these and consume alcohol.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But he apologized. He apologized about 100 times and wanted to know if we could still be friends.
Sir, come over. We'll have some bush.
Lord.
Just don't drink with them. And you can be friends with them.
I mean, he's not like a best friend, somebody I hang out with, every weekend, but he's a pretty well-known acquaintance. He's a real good guy. I mean, he's no criminal history, nothing. He just...
Well, used to not have a criminal history.
Yeah, he probably won't after this. I'm sure they'll plea it down to something. At least to a misdemeanor, probably.
Well, he's lucky he didn't crash at a high rate of speed on that motorcycle and get himself all fucked up.
He got real lucky. He did pass a 18-wheeler on the shoulder, and the 18-wheeler didn't see him coming up behind him. All he could see was our red and blue lights flashing, so his reaction was get on the shoulder, and he went to the shoulder the same time the bike's passing him. So, yes, I mean, I cringed. I'm like, this is it. He's a goner. But he squeaked by, thank God.
You must have been on one of them crotch rockets, one of them ninjas.
No, it was like a Yamaha. It was, I forget. I don't know nothing about motorcycles. I've chased a bunch of them. I've caught some, and then I know 2 of them I terminated on my own because it got too dangerous. If you get with a motorcycle, you can stay with them to some degree on a straight road. But if they know the area and they get off of that straight road and get on a windy road, you're done. You might as well give it up, or you're going to end up killing yourself. But
Yeah,
I've chased.
you saying that reminds me. I pulled over a guy on a Harley one time. I pulled him over and lit him up, and he pulled over. And it's like, well, how fast was I going? I said, I got you at 104. And he's like, you'll give me a ticket, right? Like, he was all happy about it. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to give you a ticket. You're lucky I'm not bringing your ass to jail. I said, why the hell are you so happy to be getting a ticket? He says, because this is the whole biking. My old friends are always picking on me, so I got proof that it'll do over 100 miles an hour. He was happy to get the ticket so he could prove to his friends that his bike would go over 100 miles an hour on his old Harley he had. You get some of them like that one time. I mean, he was happy as could be that he was getting that damn ticket.
It's funny you say that because not before last, I stopped a bike and I had him locked in at 100. I had him locked in at 107, but he got up to 120. So I caught up to him and lit him up. He immediately pulled over. Super nice guy. He was like, man, I'm sorry, I'm just cruising. And once again, it was real late at night. There was a few cars on the road, not a lot. But I actually gave him a warning. I'm like, man, you could have probably outran me. I said, but you pulled over immediately. You knew you were speeding. So, I mean, I gave him a warning. But I got behind 2 crotch rockets one night. It's been several years ago. And they were doing 152. They were cruising. So I got up behind them, and I was in a Dodge Charger. So I get up behind them, and I didn't light them up yet. I radioed one of my partners, who was also in a Charger. I'm like, hey, get up here to this intersection. Go ahead and start getting on the big road, because I know as soon as I light them up, they're going to run. So about a mile before where my partner was set up, I lit them up, and they both turned around. They looked at me. One of them shot me the finger. So, well, here we go. So the lead bike, there were obviously 2 different models, but the lead bike was faster than the bike that was closest to me. Well, the lead bike, he takes an exit, and I'm like, well, there's no way I can hang with him, because he had already pulled way ahead of me. So I stayed with the rear bike, and we stayed on interstate. Well, I was doing 155. I figured he was probably doing close to 162, 165 or something. And he takes an exit. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to hang with you for a little bit. So he takes the exit. We hit this windy road. We come into a corner, and I mean, this dude could ride. I mean, he knew what he was doing. I know the road pretty well. I knew this hard corner was coming up, so I'd already started jabbing the brakes. He leans down. I mean, his knee's probably 2 inches off the gravel, off the asphalt. He takes that corner, I mean, cruising. And I knew right then, I'm like, yeah, he can ride. I'm done. So I terminated.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you just got to do that, especially on stuff like that.
Yeah. Now, the other night I had another one. Same thing, 2 bikes. Lit them up. They both turned around, looked at me. They looked at each other. I mean, that's like the universal, fuck the popo, we're out of here. So they looked at each other. I'm like, yep, they're going to do it. Boom, they nailed it. Same thing. Lead bike, dude could ride. Last I seen on radar with him was 184. He was gone. I was hitting him same lane. The second bike, it was an older kind of junky looking bike. Well, I floored my unit. He floored his bike, but it started spitting and sputtering. I almost run over him. So I had to slam on my brakes. I'm like, if you're gonna go, let's go. So finally, he got it going, and I'm behind him. It's dark. I'm doing like 100, and my dash cam said I was doing like 133 when all of a sudden you don't see nothing but smoke. I mean, smoke went everywhere. And I'm like, oh shit, he wrecked. Because it was instant. So I get on the radio and I'm like, of course, everybody knows I'm in pursuit. Everybody's coming. I'm like, Major 1050, Major 1050. Go ahead and start firing EMS. So I get over in the other lane. And of course, I'm jabbing my brakes, trying to slow down. I don't want to run over him. And that's why I got over in the other lane. I still can't really see nothing. There's just smoke everywhere. Well, I come out of the smoke and I see the bike probably 200 yards up the road on its side in the shoulder. I'm like, oh shit, where's he at? So I turn around. I got my spotlight. I'm checking the ditches. Like, I know he's laying here somewhere. I'm looking. Cavalry shows up. And they're like, where's he at? I said, I don't know. I said, he wrecked. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he got thrown over the fence. He's in that pasture. I don't know if he's okay and he took off running. I don't know. Well, to make a long story short, come to find out, he didn't wreck. The motor blew up. Liquid went all over the exhaust, oil, everything, and caused all that smoke. He actually kept going, laid it down up there, and took off running.
Oh, okay.
But we got him. They both, well, the one that took off running on me, he went back to prison. And that dude on the lead bike, he had a blue warrant, which was a warrant to go back to prison due to a parole violation. But we ended up identifying both of them and got both of them. So it all worked out.
Well, the ones that, everybody's like, I don't get mad. They want to get away, they're going to get away. And when they drive like that, their luck's only going to last so long. If you're going to drive motorcycles at 100 plus miles an hour, your luck's only going to hold out for so long. And when you crash at that kind of speed, if you survive, that's a big fucking if you survive, you're probably going to wish you didn't. So.
Yeah, and none of us, we don't like anybody getting away from us. But, when I do terminate a pursuit, it's in the best interest of everybody. And, I'm the number one person. I don't like being beat. I don't like people getting away from me. But it is not worth me killing myself or even them killing themselves or somebody innocent getting ran over, getting killed or hurt.
Yep. Well, Cornholio,
because nine times out of 10, the ones that I have chased, they really had no fucking reason to run.
Yeah, I had something like that. I'm like, why were you even running? One of the last ones I got into, the guy ran. If he had just stopped, he just got a ticket. His vehicle was completely legal, and so was he. No warrants. Just stupidity.
Yeah, it's crazy. I had a guy run one night. I checked his speed at 92. It was my last stop. I had another officer riding with me, a reserve officer. And I said, we're going to stop one more and we're going to go home. And it was like 2:45 in the morning. Pull him over. He stops. I get out, which I notice when I get out, he's still on the brakes. I'm like, I don't like people on the brakes. So I figure, all right. Most people put it in park.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't in park. I didn't see them reverse lights flicker when he went to park, so I knew he was still in driving on the brakes. So I get out, and right as I get to the trunk of the car, he floors it. And it took me a second to process it. I'm like, he's running. I'm like, shit. I run back to the car, check in pursuit with him. Man, I chased this dude all up and down interstate. He'd exit. He'd go back around through this neighboring town. He'd get back on interstate. He'd exit. I mean, we went round and round and round. Finally, and the whole time, as soon as he took off from me from the traffic stop, he turned his headlights off. So he's blacked out the whole time I'm chasing him. I'm pretty sure.
He must have been local to know the roads that well.
No, he's from Louisiana.
Oh, them damn Louisiana people crazy.
He's one of your damn people. He went from Louisiana. He said he come from Louisiana. He took his pregnant girlfriend to Dallas to eat supper. Bullshit. So
well,
I don't know where he threw the dope.
He heard they had the best Cajun food in Dallas.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't know where he threw the dope, but I'm certain he threw dope somewhere. I just didn't see it. But she was 9 months pregnant. We finally got him spiked. An officer in a neighboring department about 15 miles away. He's me and him are 3 for 3. He's spiked 3 for me now. He's a good spiker for me. But we got him spiked and got it to come to an end. And I mean, he had a driver's license. There was nothing. He didn't have a warrant. Like I said, she's 9 months pregnant. So I know they went to Dallas and probably picked up some dope. He chunked it somewhere, but I mean, if he'd have just chilled out and stopped there, I mean, he probably wasn't even going to get a ticket, because I don't even write tickets for speed unless it's 100 or above. I mean, I'm lenient on speeders.
Yeah, that's because you're looking for all that dope.
Yeah, and most people that got dope, and what I call dope is, a PG1 drug. In Texas, PG1 is your cocaine, methamphetamine, your heroin, your hard stuff. But most people that's got that, they're not speeding. And if they are, they're doing 3 or 4 over just to not look obvious. I mean, when I'm looking for dope, I'm not looking for speeders. I'm looking for driving behavior. But
that's what I hear. I'm doing an interdiction, guys. Well, Cornholio, we are a little bit over an hour in, and I ain't gonna go too long. We'll have to get you back on another time. Look, everybody, this man had to drive probably 30, 40 minutes from his house, because where he lives at, he don't even have good cell service. So he had to drive and go sit in a parking lot somewhere so he could just do that. So I appreciate it. And we hope he gets some TP for his bunghole.
hey, I just got some while I was in town.
See, he did.
I am the great Cornholio.
So, everybody, I'll say this, Bam she got diagnosed with COVID, this past Thursday, and, she's doing better, a lot better now. She had to go to the hospital now, but she had the high fever and the severe body aches. She said it's the worst body ache she's ever had. Today she is doing a little bit better. No, for some unpronounced reason, I did not come down with any symptoms. I didn't go get checked because I had no symptoms. I don't know if I had it or not, but I've been taking care of her. So depending on how she feels, which I said right now she seems to be getting better. We should be back Wednesday. And of course, Doc's not going to be here. He's learning how to be a leader. But like I said, hopefully she keeps going the way she's going. Wednesday will be back on. But let's keep her in the thoughts a little bit, because the COVID, it's been kicking her ass pretty good. So the Tot's son got diagnosed yesterday. He's got it. So, but I think he's just running fever and stuff right now. So nothing too major. Just it is spreading around. I ain't gonna lie about it. It's spreading around to people. So y'all just wash your hands and watch yourself. I'm sure you don't want to catch it, because I just watched what she's been going through, and it hadn't been pleasant. So hopefully we'll see y'all Wednesday. You got anything you want to say, Mr. Corn?
No, I appreciate you letting me come on and visit with you.
Always. We'll have you back. All right, so everybody, if first responders, if you want to be a guest, if you have any stories that you want to be want me to read or whatever to me tell out, email me. It's the best way to get in touch with me. Email me. Is Cornholio. I can tell you if you email me, I email you back pretty quickly. You can go on Facebook and leave a message. I can't guarantee you it's going to be the same exact day. If I see it, I'll get it. But that is the two best ways to do it: email or go on Facebook Messenger. Like I said, I'm always looking for new guests. Any first responders? Haven't got my first correctional officer yet. California was the biggest state this past week. If anybody knows any chips out there, I'd love to interview a California Highway Patrol guy. That would be cool as shit also. So anyway, just hit me up and we'll do it. Like I said, Wednesday. I don't know who's going to be the guest host. I'll have somebody helping me out. But remember, watch y'all's backs. Be careful out there and just smile because the Iceman could always be behind you.